So, hi Etienne.
Hi.
So, what's a social learning theorist doing in Lisbon for an event for the European Social Fund?
Well, the reason I'm here for this event is that it's not just an event, but it's a moment in a process of building what I would call a social learning system, because underlying ESF is an attempt to not just have a bunch of projects all over Europe doing different things, but also to connect these projects through communities and networks and people so that the whole system can learn from itself. So for me, as a social learning theorist, that's a beautiful example of the kind of things I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And it is interesting for me because it is done at a level of scale, complexity and diversity that is, I mean, there are few examples like that deal with so many cultures, countries, project issues and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So it's a very interesting example, and what I can contribute to it, if I can contribute anything, is to give some language to understand both what's happening, what they're trying to do, and perhaps how to do it better.
Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about things on this big scale of social learning systems, I can't help but think of what's happening now in the US with the newly elected Barack Obama. Here we're really talking about scale. Is there some kind of connection? In your mind, you're Swiss, who's just voted in the US elections, because you're also living in the US. What do we learn from what's happening now with Obama?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that as a US citizen, I'm elated that Barack Obama has been elected. That's a wonderful thing. Brings a lot of hope. As a learning theorist, I would say that what I find exciting is to see how attuned Barack Obama seems to be to the kind of things that are fundamental to a social learning system, these kind of peer-to-peer processes. I mean, if you look at the way he ran his campaign, he was a committee of organizers before, there is something about him that kind of gets it, you know, it gets this kind of this peer-to-peer aspect of the 21st century, and the kind of the way he uses technology also reflects an understanding of the value and the importance of these processes. So that gives me a lot of hope that someone in that position can be so ready to understand this kind of thing and maybe use them or promote them and so on and so forth. What I find important and interesting about the ESF project and the kind of learning system they are trying to build is that even though you can be attuned to something, it's very difficult to see its potential until you see concrete examples of people trying to do it. So, here, the ESF, in its beginning attempts, I mean, we are just at the beginning. And to tell you the truth, the kind of thing that the ESF is trying to do at that level of scale, it's pushing the limit of the field. We don't quite know how to do that. And it's wonderful to have a learning laboratory where we can have practical demonstrations of what can happen, of its effect on social issues across Europe. So to me, that presence in the US of someone, you know, with that power, who is attuned to these processes, and some examples, the ESF being one of places in the world where we're trying to do that, really has a lot of promise. Because I mean, I care about the success of the ESF. As a project, I think it's going to serve the people of Europe, and if we can increase the learning of the system, I think it's going to have a wonderful effect for the people of Europe. But I think the significance is even further than that, is that in fact, we need an example of how to do that for the world, you know. Because if you think of the kind of problems that we are facing as a species, environmental issues, poverty, global health, education, all these are fundamentally, when you look at it, they are fundamentally social learning challenges, you know. Mm-hmm. And so the ESF by attempting to do that, can not only serve the people of Europe, but also serve as an example of what is possible for us to learn on this small planet of ours.
Great. That's really inspiring. Thanks, Etienne. See you on
Bev.
Thursday.
Okay.